bring in Republican Congressman Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma and Democratic Congressman David Price of North Carolina joins us. He's on the phone. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you
Good
doing?
morning.
So let me start on this proposal that's being floated in the Senate. I know you both are in the House, but I'm going to ask you for your respective opinions on if the members of your party should support this three-week continuing resolution to fund the government for just a couple of weeks. Could include storm recovery funds, funds for children's health insurance program, and an agreement to then negotiate the elements of immigration. First to you, Congressman Mullin. Do you believe this has a chance to pass, and would you push for its passage?
Look, everything in that bill, the Democrats in both chambers are on record supporting. So, absolutely, we'd support anything that moves the ball down the road. And what's been happening here is party politics has got in the way of funding the government. With the CHIP program, with reauthorization that's being placed on spending, these are the same numbers that Obama was operating underneath. Everything on this bill, not one thing on there should be controversial. And so this bill should be able to be passed in both chambers easily.
Congressman Price?
I hope that's right. This is not, the question is not the length of time so much. The question is, does this
But let's start there. Would you
a
support to pass this three-week continuation, this CR, to then continue the conversations for immigration while the government is open?
I hope so, because the question is, does it move us toward a long-term resolution of this budget issue? You know, we could have done this 6 months ago. But here we were for the fourth time being asked just to kick it down the road and not really have a budget in place for the rest of the year, let alone not dealing with CHIP, not dealing with disaster relief, all these things. So if the bill guarantees, sets us up to deal with this long term, yes, that's what we should do.
Okay, Congressman Mullin, let me play something for you. Let's go back to the 2013 shutdown, and I want to hear, this is side three, guys. This is, actually, let's play what we had up on the screen. Let's play the president, soundbite number 2 from 2013. This is what then private citizen Trump said about what the president, then President Obama, should be doing during the shutdown.
And the president, in all fairness, he's the leader. He's the one that has to get everybody in a room and get it done. They're not going to be talking about Boehner and Reid and all. They're going to be talking about President Obama and what a disaster the administration was. So he does have a lot of pressure to get this problem solved. He's got a big problem.
All right, Congressman Mullin, Senator Schumer called for a bipartisan meeting of House and Senate leaders at the White House. The White House rejected that. There were no talks yesterday. Why isn't the president doing what he suggested President Obama do back in 2013, bring the parties in the Oval Office, sit in a room and work it out?
Well, Victor, the difference between 13 and today is Obama wasn't even talking to Republicans. I was here in 2013. He wasn't even visiting with us. He kept calling on Congress to act, but he wouldn't bring us into a room. You saw President Trump, being the deal maker that he is, asking Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and the leaders to come to the White House.
How is he being the deal maker? The deal wasn't made.
Well, he was trying to make them come to the White House. He tried to work with them, but to make any deal work, two parties have to agree to work on it. Chuck Schumer, this is why the American people are blaming this shutdown on him. It's a Schumer shutdown. It's there because they want to put immigration reform in front of the American people. And the president has said these need to be two separate issues. Even though he was entertaining the conversation, he wouldn't, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi wouldn't even allow the president to have the conversation.
Congressman Mullin, let me ask you this. How does the Schumer shutdown hashtag stick if Schumer's saying, let's at least meet to talk, and the president is giving him the Heisman arm?
Victor,
how does that stick?
Let me ask you, give me one thing on this funding bill that the Democrats haven't supported in the past. Give me one thing on this funding bill that is on record of bipartisan support. Give me one thing on this thing, Victor, yourself you wouldn't support.
I'm not here to, and what my personal views are irrelevant here.
But Victor,
Democrats
it is, because the American people are seeing exactly what Schumer's doing.
Democrats have said that it's not what's on this bill that they don't support. It's the lack of a long-term spending plan and dealing with the other issues. So
we are working with budget caps right now, but Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will not allow us to talk about anything because Nancy Pelosi says whatever we spend on military, we got to spend on the private side too. Military right now is the most important thing we can do because it's protecting our national security, and we need to be propping them up and make sure they have the resources they need to protect and defend this great nation.
All right, let me bring
Chuck Schumer, he wants to talk about immigration.
Let me bring Congressman
Those are two separate issues.
Congressman Price, come back to this conversation because Senator Schumer yesterday on the floor talked about how he offered in this meeting with the president funding for the border wall. We've got the numbers here that show in the latest CNN poll that 89% of Democrats oppose funding for the border wall. So does he go in there with the backing of his party? Will he have support as he goes in and criticizes the president, saying it's like negotiating with Jell-O? Can the Democrats make good on his word that they'll get support for funding the border wall in exchange for DACA protections?
Well, there's going to have to be a package, and there's going to have to be some compromise. I can't believe what I just heard, that we can't deal with domestic spending. That's what this is all about. It's military and domestic spending, both threatened by this Trump shutdown. And the president absolutely is not exerting leadership here. He's not pulling people together, and it's hard to see how this comes together unless he's willing to invest in the process. So, Chuck, first of all, Trump made this immigration issue an emergency. He's the one who created the crisis for the Dreamers by removing their protected status. He says he wants a bipartisan solution to take care of that situation. He has one. He blows it up last week. And now the Dreamers situation is superimposed on top of the budget situation.
But Congressman Price,
created a real mess. So
let me ask you what we and put to you what the question was from Congressman Mullin. Is there anything in this bill, in this funding bill, that you disagree with? And if there is why couldn't the negotiations for the immigration package, the 4 issues the president pointed out, continued with the government open? On Monday morning, there will be hundreds of thousands of workers who will go back to work without being paid, and the negotiations still continue. Could that have not happened while they were being paid and this government was open?
Listen, we know how to do this. If that's the point, yes, we know how to do this. We've had bipartisan budget agreements.
So this could have continued without a shutdown.
We don't need to shut the government down. We should have done this 6 months ago. We need to sit down and
so then why didn't congressional Democrats, why didn't Senate Democrats vote to continue to fund the government if this could have happened with an open government?
Well, that was the condition under which we've been ready all along to deal. Look, for the first 3 months of this fiscal year, Republicans have been totally preoccupied with their tax scam. They couldn't be bothered. And look, we voted to give them 90 days, to give us all 90 days to put this together. It's not like we started this yesterday. I could have told you in June, July what we needed to do. So we've gone along with this, but we just can't keep kicking the situation into the next month.
All right, Congressman Mullin.
Enough. We need to get serious about writing a budget for the rest of the year. That's affecting our military. It's also affecting medical research. It's affecting disaster relief. So many important things.
Congressman Mullin, I've got one last question for you, and this is soundbite number 3, guys. I want to take, again, back to 2013. This is then President Obama.
And we know that the longer this shutdown continues, the worse the effects will be.
If you're serving in harm's way, we're going to make sure you have what you need to succeed in your missions. Congress has passed, and I'm signing into law, legislation to make sure you get your paychecks on time.
And the longer this goes on, the worse it will be. And it makes no sense.
Congressman, it's not so much important what the president said there, but that he said something. That's October 1st, September 30th, October 1st, respectively. The president has not said anything to the American people, to the camera, released a video, said something. Beyond where's the leadership, where is the leader? Where is the president on all of this? Why isn't he talking to a camera, going out to speak to people during this shutdown?
Because what President Trump is doing is actually talking to us. and working through this problem.
But he doesn't
I
work
come Monday,
for
look,
you. He
President
works for
Obama
the
back
American
then-
people.
President Obama
Where's the
back then,
president?
the only time he ever talked was to the camera. He not one time came to the Capitol Hill and worked with us. His administration has been working with us till late in the night. I was with Mick Mulvaney till late last night trying to work out situations.